Welcome and sorry for the delay.
No problem. Thank you very much for a kind introduction. I'm changing it this one now.
Yeah, I hope so. Ömer hocam görebiliyor musun?
Hocam notlar var fakat görünüyorsunuz.
Bir dakika. Şu an
Tamam. Şimdi oldu.
you can use this one too.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's okay. So hello everybody. It's very nice to be here again in Gebze Technical University. This is not the first time actually that I come here. And thank you very much for the invitation. I know you probably, well, since morning you are listening about research and innovation. My talk, as you actually nicely introduced about me, it's not about research and innovation, but it is about, what is the kind of a program that you can apply to with your research and find the best kind of, let's say, a program or a call for your research. So it's more like a complementary work. Yeah. So Horizon Europe is actually one of them. So there are several projects that or program that you can apply to. You are probably familiar with many of them, like TÜBİTAK, national one. I'm going to talk only about the international, which is the Horizon Europe. It's one of the actually most ambitious program to apply. And it has got a budget of 95.5 billion. And it's for the duration of 2021 to 2027. It has got its overarching goals. So it's the strengthening the EU scientific and technological base in Europe and the European research area. It also boosts the Europe innovation capacity, competitiveness, and job, and to deliver on citizen priority and sustain our socio-economical model and values. What is very important for the Horizon Europe, I want to point out, is it's also focusing on the European Green Deal, as well as the digital sustainability and transitions. Now, there is something, I know this is maybe the most boring slides that you have probably seen. I also don't like this slide, but it's really important because it's something that when you go for a job or if you apply anywhere for a funding, for a money, you want to understand the policy. What, I mean, they are giving you money, but also what they want for you in returns. So I noticed that in many actually university that I work with, that kind of knowledge is missing. So I want to actually pay attention to this one for just a couple of slides. So one of the policy is the European Green Deal. So becoming the world's first climate neutral continent by 2050. And it's the implementation of the Paris Agreement. The second kind of a policy is an economy that works for people. It's to have a strong and resilient social market economy. Europe that fit for digital age, which has high performance computing powers, quantum computer, also setting next generation standard and cybersecurity, and also human-centric and ethical artificial intelligence. Also promoting our European way of life, continue to address terrorism and also security issues, not just internal security, but also across the European Union and along its external borders. Stronger Europe in the world as well, leading role in the driving global efforts towards sustainability, international value chains. A new push for a European democracy and modernized democratic governance. Now, why this one is important? Because, or why I'm telling you this one, that you might say, well, this is not really relevant anything to my research. It is relevant to your research. Because your research in the laboratory is one part, but you also need to link it, or you need to show it that how your research is actually complies and it's aligned with the policy. And the proposals that are being accepted, all the proposals that are being actually accepted, they have that kind of a nice link to this policy. So that's something that why I'm trying to show you these ones here. And later on, I will make some connection to those ones as well. Just to show you the structure of the horizon, how it's looked. So this is the total budget, 95.5 billion, as I said, and it's for until 2027. And it's segmented into 3 areas, Pillar 1, Pillar 2, and Pillar 3. Pillar 1 has got the excellent science. It has got several different councils. One of them is European Research Councils, Marie Sklodowska-Curie Actions, MSCA, and Research Infrastructure. This one has about 25.8 billion euro allocated to by the European Commission. And these are projects that you direct yourself. So it doesn't matter what discipline, what field you are coming from, you can write as you wish and you direct it the way you want to sell your proposal to the European Commission so they can give you the funding. Then we have a Pillar 2, which is the global challenges and European industrial competitiveness. It's slightly different. It has different structure. It's defined by clusters. So it's defined by health, culture, creativity, and inclusiveness, civil security and society, digital industry and space, climate, energy, and mobility, food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment. What is important about those one, it's of course, industry is a must. It's a participation. It's in a way, the name already says that. It has got a very, very large budget, close to 53 billion. And what is important here that it's segmented to a cluster, and the European Commission are segmenting this proposal on the clusters, and each cluster has a different destination. Each destination then has a calls, and each call has got several topics. That means the European Commission has a problems that want you to solve, and it's a specific call is a specific problems, and you need to match directly to those. I mean, your research, whatever you do in the laboratory, that it solves that issue. So it's not something you can direct your own proposal as you wish. So you don't have a freedom there, like in Pillar 1. Then we have a Pillar 3, which has got the Innovative Europe with 13.5 billion. There are several councils, European Innovative Council, Innovation Ecosystem, and European Institution of Innovation and Technology. It's more supporting SME, small, medium enterprises, and it's more towards close to the market. There is also a widening participation and strengthening the European research area. There is a European Defence Fund and also a Euro-Atom. So that's quite a large program, and it has different schemes, different types, different modalities. So you can find actually that you can fit anywhere. Many actually opportunity for you. Under Pillar 1, this is, as I said previously, it's the Marie Curie. It's a very conservative, actually, a program. Here, what is important that it's your research is has a technology readiness level developed between 1 to 3. So it is really, it supports a basic science. The Pillar 2 is less conservative. It's kind of spread also to a different level of technology readiness. And it's basically, it's the technology, and it has to, of course, have an impact on the society. Pillar 3 is the least conservative one, and you can find it throughout actually Pillar 1 throughout the technology readiness 1 to 9. And they are all close to the market. So this is the overview of the, let's say, the anatomic structure of the Horizon Europe. Now, for the Pillar 1, again, some of you maybe you already apply or you are familiar with those. What it is a very prestige a program that supports excellent investigator and their research teams, of course, for the groundbreaking, high gain, high risk research. Application can be in any field, so that's mean for the whole pillar 1 that you can define your own direction to the research. The independent researcher of any age and career stage can apply for an attractive long-term funding. And it can be investigator from anywhere in the world, so there is no restriction there, the eligibility. So this is some kind of, this is the table that you can look at it. It starts with the starting grant, which is up to 1.5 million euro. The duration is up to 5 years. Actually, all of them are until the synergy grant up to 5 years. And it's with the 2 to 7 years of experience since completion of PhD. So this is really the starting one. Then it's the consolidator grant, which is up to 2 million that you can apply. Again, 5 years. But of course, it's more for experienced researchers. So it needs to be somewhere between 7 to 12 years of experience. Then there is the advanced grants up to 2.5 million. And again, the achievements, it has to be recognized in the last 10 years, the scientific track record. There are a synergy grants, which are a synergy like a consortium. So you need 2 or 4 researchers. And it's up to 10 million euro that you can receive for a period up to 6 years. Very difficult to get those grants, but of course, one option for you. Then there are others which are Marie Curie, still under pillar 1. Again, still you can choose your field and the directions of your research. So again, you don't have any restrictions here. And they are slightly different segmented based on the types, based on the, again, modalities. Again, many of you, because you come all from universities, are probably familiar with some of those ones. So it has got doctoral networks and it has got different types of modalities there, standard, industrial, and joint. They are up to 4 years. And they are for, it requires consortium, and it is for kind of student exchange. So it's the mobility. You award a PhD student at the end of the program, and you need minimum 3 legal entities. Postdoctoral fellowship, again, it's under Marie Curie, it's another option. It can be European or a global one fellowships, different duration, and it's for people, PhD, once they finish their PhD, up to the 8 years. Of course, if there is maternity and some other illnesses, it can be extended, but that's the normal length. Then there are staff exchanges as well. It's about, again, short-term exchange of academic or industrial or commercial organization. And it can be anybody from, let's say, administration, it can be from the managerial, it can be researcher. So it has got really, really, again, a huge, broad opportunity for people to exchange and go to either industry or to a university. There is also a co-fund as well, which is for the regional, national, or international programs. And it has got, again, 2 different modalities for doctoral or postdoctoral programs. Up to 10 million euro can be received for the whole consortium, and it's for the duration of 5 years. So this is just to show you how actually broad and what options there are for the pillar 1. Pillar 2, I said earlier that there are some, there are a different cluster, and it's differently structured. So here you don't have the option to choose what you want to write. You have to fit to some of these specific topics. Just to give you an example how large it is, nations under the pillar 2, and you have about 719 calls and topics. So you really need to go through it and choose which one would fit you most. And it requires a large consortium. Minimum is 3, but I mean, usually for consortium, it's between 6 to 15 different legal entities is required. There is also the pillar 3, which is the Innovative Europe. It's a total budget of 10 billion. It provides financial support in form of grants and investment alongside business acceleration service. And the goal is to identify and support the high-risk innovations that normally they get very, very difficult to get funding for. Tackling the societal challenges where there are risks. It could be financial, technological, or scientific risk. And it cannot go into the market easily without the help actually of the funding. It supports innovative researchers and entrepreneurs. And it also supports the scale-up company. Mainly it is for release startups, spin-out, and SMEs. And to bring it, it helps to bring the innovation to the market as soon as possible. So there are again several Pathfinder, transition activity accelerator, and etc. So you can later on maybe look at it and read it. Now, these three pillars has a kind of, they are all interconnected to each other. And that's also something that I want to mention is that when you do write your proposal, and doesn't matter whichever pillar you go to, whichever types or scheme you do, it's also nice to, when you show that you are aware of some of these other calls, and you can connect your proposal, for example, the result of it, how it can contribute to another, for example, pillar, which usually those are the one proposal that get the funding. So, for example, the pillar one is for creating high quality new knowledge, strengthening human capital, and fostering diffusion of knowledge and open science. And it has got a scientific impact. It's, you can say, very much defined by the science. Whenever pillar two is more as a, has a societal impact. It has a direct impact on missions, which has got a 5 mission that has been identified by the European Commission. And also to the sustainable developmental goal. That's why there are defined call and topics for you. But also for the scientific impact, it should also contribute to the society. So there is the kind of linkage between them. And for the pillar 3, again, it has got more towards the economic impact, but also it's not only the economic impact, it should also have the connection to the missions and the sustainable development goals. To tell you what are the missions and the sustainable development goals, so there has been 17 sustainable development goals. You can read those ones here, 17 of them. They have been set up in 2015 by the United Nations General Assembly and are intended to be achieved by the year 2030. Now, these are a very, very broad goals. Your research in your laboratory might not necessarily resolve, I don't know, the completely clear water and sanitation, or it might not completely, resolve the issue of hunger. It will not, but it is the maybe indirect contribution that your part, it's like a piece of puzzle. How much you can it can be little contribution, but you are aware of it. So this is what the European Commission wants to see. They want to see that you are aware of it and your research can contribute to it. These are, as I said, very, very broad goals. Again, when you go onto the website, you can go inside and then you see after each of them, there are different targets and what do they want to achieve with that target. So when you do write your proposal, and doesn't matter what it is about, if it's in the, I don't know, in the laboratory, whatever you do, you should always think in these terms, how you can link your research directly or indirectly to these goals. Otherwise, it's very, very unlikely that it will be actually accepted. The similar thing is with the 5 missions. These are new things, these missions. You probably are familiar with the Horizon 2020 in the past. There wasn't no such things as these missions. But they are new things that to bring the concrete solution to some of the greatest challenges. They have ambitious goals and will deliver concrete results by 2030. So this mission has been again set up by European Commission, and they try to force, doesn't matter, you can be an individual fellow, a postdoctoral fellow who wants to do something, and you might think it's not even related to any of these ones. But still, you have to, or you should, find a link that you can show, hey, I am aware of these issues, and maybe this project in the future can contribute this and this, and especially in the impact section, actually, when you have to, it's about actually vision. So your project doesn't just stay in the laboratory and it doesn't stay there, it's kind of move forward. These missions, what they are this adaptation to climate change, including societal transformation. It's also related to cancer, and it's very, very, very broad when you look at into the documentation, what they want to resolve for the cancer, soil health and food. That's one of the actually major issue these days. Climate neutral and smart cities, and healthy ocean, seas, and coastal and inland waters. If you look at it, all of them, apart from cancer, it's all related to the Green Deal. It's about sustainability. So your proposal has to have this concept in it, and it has to be shown in the proposal that you are aware of it and you are actually complying with those things. Because you can look at it like that. I mean, they are the one that they are giving you money, and this is, they are supporting your research, and they want to see these things in the proposal.
The important solutions are, I mean, for instance, no poverty is as important as climate action.
They are all equally important. There is no something that is more important or less, but your project probably has something that you will focus more or can contribute most. In your proposal, you can select few of them. For example, you can put that it can contribute to this goal, and this goal, which can be, for example, 3 of them. You can list them. It doesn't mean that at the end, once your project finished, it doesn't mean that it has to contribute. It's not like that. They want you to see the way you are thinking, how much you are aware of it. Now, if you at the end contribute to it and how much of it you contribute to it, it's not that relevant. But you need to show that it is. Now, many universities and many people that I came across with, they said, well, it's kind of obvious. Why do I have to write it there? It's obvious that will contribute, by just reading it, my proposal, they should know. But no, you have to specifically say, what do you think? So they want to see your vision, your future vision, how you will impact the society. This is what they want to see. And they want to see how much knowledge you have in that. So you should show it in your proposal, not assuming that they will kind of read it and they will say, wow, yeah, okay, it might be, related to here and there. No, you don't assume. You should specifically say. So when you write your proposal, you should really specifically show, for example, what you are, your main contribution, maybe direct contribution, maybe indirect contribution, and also relate here. But there is no priority. One is higher, one is lower. No, not at all. The cluster, the pillar 2 is a bit easier in some ways because it is precisely defined for you. So they give you what are the problems, what are the cluster calls, and those topics. So you can directly actually answer many questions there. But for like pillar 1 or pillar 3, no, you need to actually show them that you are aware of it. I have to say, because I'm evaluating a proposal for the last 5 years. So I work for the European Commission, and I do evaluate specifically for Marie Curie. All the proposal, and now you need to have 95% or higher than 95% to get a funding. So even if you get like 93%, you do not get a funding. It's not enough anymore. And all these ones that they have 95 plus, it is because they actually show the European Commission that they are aware of this and they comply with the policy and their missions, and they want to contribute to those. Because it's up to you. You can go to their program, you can apply to another program, but their criteria is this. If you want to apply to us, show us how you will get there. Your proposal might also not have, you might find, but it's impossible. I don't really believe a proposal might not, does not really contribute any of this one because it is so broad. But suppose it is, maybe you might also find a link to pillar 2. So this is also possible. You can also show that, you know, okay, maybe it doesn't have these huge goals, but maybe it can still contribute some of the goals and topics there. But that's something that they do want to see. So it's going this direction. Now, what is a competitive proposal? I would describe it something like that. You have your research and innovation or technology are the key ingredients. And of course, this is the most important thing. So your research is always, of course, the number one. But if you don't combine it with the the correct writing techniques, and also understanding the template, and also understanding the policy, you will not get the competitive final proposal that you would want to get the funding. So it may well stay between this 90%, which is fantastic, but you will not get the funding. And it's getting every year harder and harder to actually get the funds from EU. So this part, yeah, I would say, how can I go back? This way, yeah, this is somewhere else. So this one is quite important as well for you. Competitive proposal encapsulate the following. So it's the scientific and technical knowledge, which you do have, nobody else has that one. But it's also, you should be aware of the knowledge of the knowledge of the rules of the participation. That's what I'm trying to tell you about these missions and visions and policy. It's also about the applicant strategy. So there is also something that people do want to apply, and they want the grant for everything. For the recruitment of the researchers, they want the grant for equipment, for many other things. But you should have a strategy. You should know what is the most important things. Do you want to get your students? Do you want, or you yourself want to go somewhere else and learn something? Or is there some, you know, what it is? So that should be very clear. Based on that, you have to allocate which program is the best program for you. So that's the applicant strategy. And also the individual attitude of the proposal writer as well. That also makes a huge contribution there. It's something people should not forget. It's a teamwork, even though you write individual proposals, applications, which are in case of the ERC, many of them are individual, under Marie Curie are also individual, but actually it is not individual. It's always, it's a teamwork, because you as an individual, you don't do anything. You go to some other host institution or you go to another university. So be aware that even for the individual, you should work together with your the university that you are visiting. So it's a teamwork. Also, administration department and legal department, which are also important there as well. You should think about your motivation. So what motivates you? As I said, if everything is there, that you want money for everything, it might be difficult for you to then choose which program suits you best. But if you know exactly where it's, of course, I mean, everybody will need for many different things, right? I'm not saying it's always that clear, but the program will then help you, it guides you if you know ahead what is the main things that you want to get. It can be create international contacts, maybe for that reason, stable funding, source of funding. It can be progress of science. That's probably for everything, progress of science. I think everybody would need that. But there are specific, for example, programs for recruitment. And is it more for like a advanced, more like a senior or a younger recruitment, so to get to teach them and to obtain a PhD to your students? So it has got variations. Is it career development? So you want to develop your own career, or exchange of research idea, knowledge and circulation. So that will help you actually then to see which types of calls you might want to apply. What is also important, I would say, because there are also companies here, not just a university, to consider your money, and if it's your money, so it means the university money or the company's money or EU funding. So with your money, you don't have any constraint, for sure, it's easier. There is no time bound. There is no risk for partnership that somebody just leave you and then you are with half of the consortium. And you have an exclusive ownership of the results. The advantages of EU funding, you have availability of national resources, access of new partners, access to state-of-art knowledge, and circulation idea or cross-fertilization. The disadvantages when it's your own money, potential lack of resources, the partnership opportunity might be missed, limited recruitments, and also slower progress of science research. The disadvantages of EU fund, it takes time to enter into the rolling mechanism. Yeah, that I can say I've seen quite a lot. There are some universities that specifically, like for example, Cambridge, Oxford, many of them also in Germany and Netherlands. They, for example, they are in that kind of mechanism, rolling mechanism. So it's very, very easy for them to apply and get the funding because they know what is required. They are so familiar with all the policy and they know what they are asking for. So they put the answers perfectly there in the proposal, which is not the case for many other universities. So, and it takes time, that's for sure. Need of compliance with many obligations. That's something also for a company as well, it might be sometimes difficult. People don't want to be always obliged. Time constraint and additional need of planning and a risk of losses, time investment in project writing. So this is something, yeah, you should definitely consider before applying that, you know, if it is really the best choice. Another things that also I think it's a good to note is there are cross-cutting issues in Horizon Europe that have been introduced. So one of them is gender equality and inclusiveness, social science and humanities, social innovations, ethics and research integrity, security, do not know significant harm principle, dissemination and exploitation of research results, and open science. Now, again, it depends from which environment you come to, and of course, that actually will dictate everything, but you should be aware of those ones, and they should be, again, shown in the proposal. So when you do write your proposal, and if you have a consortium, and if all the lead of the group from every university is, for example, a male, or vice versa, it can be just all female. It's no even point applying because you will definitely not be able to get the fund because one of the restrictions is actually there. What they try to be, it should be close to 50-50%. Now, of course, there are some departments like engineering where, of course, male are maybe more dominant. In social science, more female are dominant. But that's why they want to have this kind of cross-fertilization. So it's not just, okay, you can have, for example, 60-40%, and you can, again, explain it. But it has to be shown that you are aware of it and you care for it. And the proposal must have it. And the proposal has it actually, it's a very, very clever actually template. If you, I don't know, spend some time on it and look at it. Lots of people always tell me, but they are always asking the same things. You know, you have this section of excellence, impact, and implementation. And people sometimes ask, yeah, but they're always asking the same thing. Actually, it's not. If you ever think that the template is asking the same things, it means you didn't understand the questions at all. Because sometimes in the excellence, they are asking what it is. So you have to describe the big picture. In the other section, they are asking, you know, why do you do that? So it never is the same things. With the gender dimension, for example, it's you have to show the gender dimension not only in the consortium, like the colleagues you are working, and also who you will recruit. You are not also cannot just include recruit only female or male. It also is in the research innovation as well, which is really important because I never thought of that actually many years back when I was doing my own research and innovation in the laboratory. When you do, for example, design a car seat, for example, which actually kind of strike me. There was a proposal that, they said, well, we are just developing a car seat. What is it to do with male and female? Why do we need to consider that? It is just a seat. Don't bother me with that. But the point is, it's not just a seat. When you look at it, all the car seats are designed for a male body. So when the male is driving, it is much more comfortable for the male because of the broader shoulder. It has got also, it's more comfort. In case of actually, we look at statistics, in case of an accident, because actually of the level and the car seat, a male is less like, okay, this may be more likely to have accident because of aggression types. I'm not talking about that. But in case you are hit and there is an accident, it is always in favor of male, not a female. So I'm not talking about clinical trials at all, which already is so much favored for men and not for female at all, because female cannot be tested until the age of 50. So, I mean, when you go into the details of that, it is extremely unfavorable to the woman. But I'm talking about a car seat that really many people didn't even think about it, that it was important. So now the European Commission, they want to see this one. It is the gender equality and the kind of gender consideration in your research as well. If you do not, for example, like in case of you study a bacteria where there is really no female and male, lots of people, lots of proposals, what surprised me, they leave it empty, so they don't answer it. Don't do this one in your template. Don't ignore it and assuming that, the evaluator doesn't read it. Because the evaluator is explicitly asked a questions because we have a specific template and I have to exactly answer what the, what the applicant is talking about the gender, let's say, gender dimensions in the research and innovation. So I cannot ignore it. So it has to be written there. So in case you are working with bacteria or something irrelevant, you still have to write a couple of sentences that no, in your research, there is nothing, there is no really male and female to consider, but it has to be written there. So this is why I'm pointing that out. For the social, for example, science, in the past, Horizon 2020, you probably, if you are familiar with, it was very much conservative. So biology or chemist or, for example, mathematics discipline, they were always like one discipline and, different part of maybe mathematics or different subfield of mathematics, for example, that gathering together. In this Horizon Europe, it's slightly different. I've seen projects which I was very, very surprised of having economics, social science, mathematics, medicine, and biology together. So very unrelated, I thought maybe very unrelated, actually discipline are coming together and writing a proposal. And actually it was funded, actually. I was very surprised because it was a university came to me, it was a consortium and they asked me if I can help them to write. And we wrote it together and I was really, really questioning at some point, this is really a weird discipline to put together. But it is something that what it wants, a European Commission. They want different disciplines together, that you can learn one from each other. It's not something a must, but if it is there, it is actually valuable. So that's what I'm trying to say. Don't hesitate if you have some partners and it's completely different discipline, and maybe you can create something that, it has a good actually match. For example, do no significant harm principle, there is also, you are not going to be, unless you are writing for some specific, so there are some specific calls that you have to answer all these ones, even the do no significant harm principle, and you have to really comment on it. But even on the proposal that you don't have to. Nobody is asking you about that one. In case of, for example, ERC grants, or in case of Marie Curie. Marie Curie, for example, they don't. But it is in your proposal, if you do write it, if you show that you are considerate actually, and you will not, although it is obvious, I mean, why would you do a research and try to harm somebody, right? You might think like that, what are ridiculous things? I'm doing something to harm the nation. No, you will not do that one. But surprisingly, they want you to actually write it that you do consider. In that case, it's mean, for example, when you are in your early stage, like in the basic research, technology readiness 1, 2, 3, for example, and me as well when I was a researcher. For example, I never look at the material, I would say, impact or the sustainability, how the material really is. I usually bought something and I was driven by money, although it was not my money, it was the company money, that's for sure. But you are choosing somewhere from Sigma Aldrich, and you are choosing something that fits to your research, right? And you look at the properties of it, or the whatever you are looking for, and then you choose that one. Now, what they want you to do is that you consider, for example, there might be 2 or 3 alternatives. And you should also think about that one, why you are choosing this one. Now, in your research, it's maybe not important because, let's say I come from molecular biology. The amount of chemicals I will use, it is really microliters. Why would I actually care? I thought like that in the past. Now I don't. In the past, I thought like that. I mean, who cares? It's a microliter, right? It goes to the sink or kind of dilutes, right? But it's not the point there. The point is that you should have the vision how it will impact, because it will be scale up, right? Industry, I mean, your research should be taken by an industry and should be scale up. So when you scale up something, it doesn't stay with microliters, it goes to, large number. Then the sustainability is very important there. So they want you to, at very early age, right? Really, when you are, even if you are a doctoral PhD student, they want you to think in these terms. So when you are choosing something, you are choosing it for the right reason. So you do consider also if it does harm or not to the environment. About the dissemination and exploitation, this is another thing that I want to point out. Many companies, for example, I know they want to always apply for these kind of horizon programs, which is great actually, because industry are always welcome. But they should also be aware that everything is more, it goes to the direction of open science. So it's not something that you do in the secret and you don't want to share with the world. It's not like that. You can, of course, have some specific part that you can protect, and it's for sure can be patented. But overall, you have to be aware that if you do write for a horizon, it has these, one of the policies, an open science. So you have to really share your research. I think this is my, I would say, last slide almost, yeah. Pardon, I'm not used to this one. As a time-wise, I would always recommend to people to give about 3 months to prepare. And that's kind of the preparation of the entity. This is specifically, I would say, for non-academic partner. Universities are usually very good, actually, because they already know how to actually write a project and proposal. But for non-academic partner, and if you have in the consortium, and some actually calls, they specifically required an industry or SME on your proposal. Otherwise, you are not eligible, so you cannot even apply. So you should actually make them to make sure that they are familiar what they are applying for. Non-associate third country, which are also very much welcome. The again idea is to bring people from all parts of the world. There are differences for sure. Third country as can be eligible. There are lists of them. They are automatically eligible, like Iran, Afghanistan, many countries in Africa. But also there is a third country which are not automatically eligible, although they can also participate if they have a really important part in that project. So it's about actually awareness of those, not necessarily the university. Yeah, this is the clear objective. Identification, it should also it takes time because sometimes the types or the modality are very close to each other. So you really choose the best call for you. So that's about 3 months. 2 months, it's for the, once you identify your coordinator and kind of coordinate all the aspect of the project together and put it together. And then of course the registration and submission is just a couple of hours. There are, I kind of, yeah, I said already a bit from the beginning that my background is scientific background, so I'm a biologist, molecular biologist. I undergraduate with medicinal chemistry and my PhD in structural biology. So about more than 15, 16 years, I work in the laboratory. But in the past, in the past 5 years, I work slightly differently. I support university and industrial writing project. So one of the companies that I'm working now with is EFMC. They provide support for any pillar 1, 2, 3, and any kind of cluster and whichever program you want to go to. Me in the EFMC, I provide a support for the Marie Curie only. At the same time, yeah, this is some of, related also to EFMC. I do lots of training, so it's not only providing support on project, I give training how to write a project. So this is my main aspect of it, to teach the other university how a project should be written. I also do some kind of pre-award assistant award reading for them, partnering in project that we do, and post-award. Apart from this, I also work for the European Commission when I do monitoring of projects. So it's for the midterm and also for the final term as well, when the project is submitted. And I also evaluate call as well and select which proposal should be funded and which proposal should not be funded. And I evaluate it for, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of calls. And that's about it from me. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Thank you very much. This was the most valuable lecture that we have listened, really. And up until I have listened to your presentation, I was thinking that there is no money available, but I see that there is lots of money available as well.
Lots of money, yeah.
So thank you very much for your contribution, and I appreciate this. This is the certificate, and this is the little reminder or present.
I love chocolate, yeah. Chocolate, right?
It is the symposium mug.
I thought you were giving me chocolate.
Well, you can fill up with chocolate. It's no problem.
No chocolate inside, really? No. Thank you very much.
Next time, this will be filled with chocolate.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Evet arkadaşlar, Ritka Hanım'a gerçekten çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Bu önemli bir boyuttu bizim için. Çalışmalarımızın destekleneceği kaynakların bulunması ve buradaki başvuru yöntemleri, başvurulabileceğimiz imkanlar, bunların hakkında bilgi sahibi olduk. Kendisine çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Şimdi geldik bugünün son ortak oturumuna. Bu da bizim Lif ve Polimer Araştırmalar Derneğimizin genel kurulu olacak. Yusuf hocam verirse kimseyi bulamayız ondan sonra. Yusuf Hoca kaçınca kimse kaç dakika mola peki? Hocam merdivenler bile 5 dakikada ancak çıkıyor. Zoom'u kapatabiliriz. Evet, Zoom'u da şeyle kapatabiliriz. Ayrılabilir. Ne yapalım? O zaman 15 dakika ara mı verelim? 5 dakika. Peki 5 dakika ara verdik arkadaşlar o zaman. 5 dakika.
Abi bitti. Size paydos.